Yeah, g'day viewers, Chris here with the 790 Adventure R, and I've had a comment from one of the viewers who was interested to know, after watching the video on the boots last week, about my budget pegs which I put on to stabilise the boot, and this is one of them. So just to show you where they go, there's actually two posts on these foot peg mounts that these bolt up to, and what I had to do was bend it two different ways. I had to bend it out to get this. You actually want this so that it's sloping backwards a little bit from your boot, so that if you go to come off, it's not pulling your boot in to the bike as it could if it was this way, but further out it could jam your boot in. So I leave them as a wheel. They came off that board over there, which I bought from Kmart for $10, and the original two went onto my Africa Twin and just bolt on where the pillion peg brackets come off. These are a little bit different, and I did have to make up a couple of different bolts for the two different things, purely because of the way that the foot peg goes on, because of my exhaust. So when the bracket goes on and goes up, I don't actually have enough room down here to get a Torx wrench in, and that's how you can see that these are indented and go onto those posts to hold them securely, and they go on with a Torx bit. But because my pipe is in the way, when I'm running these, I just run a standard bolt, which I can then get to with a spanner. And when I'm running the pillion pegs, if my daughter wants to come for a ride, and I have to bolt these on, then I use a bolt which is about a similar amount sticking out, but it's actually got a nut on it, so that I can get the spanner on under here, because I don't have room, but it's still sticking in far enough, remembering that this actually goes down into the thread, so that's actually got quite a lot of thread on it. You can use a shorter bolt. This bolt is actually fine. You can see how far that sticks out, and that's what you want to check, is to make sure that you've got it sticking out a similar amount, so that it's secure when someone's on it. So yeah, with this, pretty easy to make. If you've got a grinder, I just ground a little V out of this section, and I ground a 90-degree chunk out of that, and then I bent it. You can see that it's bent away, and it's also bent up, because when I put it on originally with it straight, the wheel was actually a little bit low, only 15 or 20 mils, but while you're at it, you may as well make it right. I also made these so that they go on with my pannier supports that I have on. I run panniers that have the straps over the seat, so that supports the weight, and these supports are really just to stop it flapping around and keeping it away from the exhaust. So I've made it so that it will go on with these, because that's the combination I run 99% of the time. I have to take those bars off when I put the pillion pegs on. They won't go on together, because of the way the posts are, and the way that it goes up countersunk into these castings. So yeah, pretty easy, just a bit of angle iron. I had to add an extra nut on the inside to get my distance right, to get my angle right. So you can see there it's angled in, and it's also angled forward or up. That's up when it's mounted, and in a bit to get the angle right. There's nothing fantastic about it. It's actually welded fairly strongly, although I wouldn't say that it's amazing. I rounded the corners off so there's nothing there to snag or jag. Run a nylock nut so it doesn't come off. Might be a mil too short on that, but so far they haven't moved, and like I say, they're 10 bucks for 4 of them. So that's the scoop on that, and I'll show you on this side. It's easy, there's plenty of room without the muffler. So I run the Torx ones here, the original Torx ones, and I do keep the original smaller bolts because there's 3 bolts for them. I keep them in place just to keep those threads clear, because I don't run a hugger. I run this flap down the other way, which goes up and down with the back tyre. And you can see at the moment I've been riding this weekend. It's the middle of the weekend now, so I'll give it a clean up afterwards, but these bars are for support, more or less sideways for the bags, because the weight is really taken by the straps across the top and the way it's all strapped on. As a bonus for you keen riders, I actually found my prototype for these bars. When I was looking at making them, I actually had a go to see if I could make them one piece. These are actually 2-piece that bolt through 2 holes that I drilled there. And this is the high-tech piece of gear that I used, by eyeball to decide, oh yeah, I need a bit more bend here. So you just do a little bend, move another inch, and make sure you don't kink it or crease it. And there you go, a bit more of a bend on that one. So yeah, very high tech, and shows the extent that I go to do things on the cheap. As much as anything with this, I didn't want to put the racks on that people put on, because I didn't like how far back a lot of them put the bags. I don't like having the weight further back, further out or further up than it has to be, and this allows me to keep a pretty tight package there. And so far on the second Flinders trip, the end of this one actually broke off, and I just stuck it in a vise. Luckily we were at Arkarula, stuck it in a vise, drilled a hole, and moved it out. So I've got a little bit of extra, which I can do again if the same thing happens, and gave it a little bit of a bend. So it sits there, which is parallel to the exhaust. I'll put a picture there of the bike loaded, but so far, other than breaking that end, it hasn't moved, and it's just there for support to stop them flapping. So that's about it for this one. Just a little bit of a quick update for those that are interested in doing their own things to their bikes. I know you can buy accessories, you can buy all kinds of stuff for your bike, but as much as riding bikes, I enjoy working on them as well. So yeah, just a quickie, and thanks Mike for the suggestion. Cheers. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see some more of these videos. There's a couple more coming up, and a few more bits and pieces, so yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Cheers.